look at yourself, and as I say this, I'm going to say the sun means, and you should think, I have a sun inside of me. In other words, when you were born, the sky showed the planets in particular signs, in particular places, 3 planets together, or 5 planets together, or no planets together. And each one of those tells the astrologer something about the karma that you're carrying from your last life that is going to land at various times throughout your life. Or it's going to make up your nature and your disposition. In other words, some of us are more like the sun, some are more like the moon, some are more like Mercury or Jupiter or Venus. Why? Because we became more like those planets in a previous life. We came in and we have a body that has that planet as an endowment that is stronger. I'll give you an example. If someone is an artist, which planet do you think they might have powerful? Well, let's look and see. Venus, Shukra. What is the nature of Venus? Harmonious, artistic, beautiful, aesthetic. So anyone you know who has artistic, aesthetic, harmonious characteristics, who's an excellent ambassador, who shows a refinement in the way they do everything, you know by those behaviors that they have a strong Venus. Let's take another one, Mars, assertive, courageous, and powerful. All right, so if you see someone working with weapons, studying martial arts, completely powerful, muscular, assertive, what you're really seeing is a personification of the planet Mars, of Mangala. If you see someone nurturing, caring, a restaurant where the restaurateur loves to feed people and goes around and says, are you all right? Are you happy? Did that make you happy? Are you well fed? We could just say, oh, that's just a restaurateur. But the fact is, that's the moon whose nature is to nurture, who is reflective, sensitive, intuitive, emotional. So if the moon is strong in you and you're listening, if you have those empathic qualities, then you should know that the moon is strong in you, or it was strong when you were born. Now that means if I looked at the piece of paper that tells me where the planets were when you were born, I could predict that you would like to nurture. I could predict you would be a powerful athlete. I could predict, let's take another planet, Mercury, intelligent, a communicator, eloquent. Let me ask you a question. Do I have a weak Mercury or a strong Mercury? Well, you can decide. Am I, do I have trouble communicating? Or, for the most part, am I focused and clear and articulate and studied and have a vocabulary? And I've read many books and studied from many teachers. What planet does that? Well, it turns out 2 of them, Mercury, because you need to be intelligent, have a good vocabulary, be eloquent, and be a communicator. Now let's learn about another planet. It's called Jupiter, Brihaspati. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, judgment, and expansion. Have you ever watched a Supreme Court justice analyze evidence in a complex case and see them sort through it carefully? We even use the word judiciously, with great wisdom and understanding, and they're contemplating and judging. So judging is Jupiter. Judging is wisdom, ideally, we hope. And so we actually look for people who have gravitas, who are deep, who are profound, who don't rush to a conclusion, who are balanced and who seek the truth. Don't you know friends who are truth seekers who just hate it when you lie? And some people can't help lying and they lie all the time. Well, that's actually a planet called Rahu. Rahu is a little corrupt, very materialistic, quite selfish, If somebody cares mostly just about themselves and only wants a material outcome, they probably have Rahu dominating their chart. If they're a scientist, now let me ask you a question. Are you capable with all tools, and have you studied all forms of mechanics so that you could take a car apart and put it back together again? Or be a scientist and invent something like a computer or a rocket? No. But it was humans who did those things. They actually had the skill sets to do that. I don't. I'll tell you right here, I would not make a great engineer or mechanic. So what does that tell you in my chart? The planet Saturn is not as strong. Saturn is the manifester, the scientist, and the one who's able to control matter, property, belongings, mechanics, scientific understanding of the technicalities. This program that's broadcasting right now has scientists behind it, engineers, sound engineers, visual engineers, programmers. They have Saturn strong in their chart. So we've talked about the moon. What about the sun? Charismatic. Leaders. Don't you know leaders who just walk on stage, and you can tell by how they walk on stage that they're interesting. There's something about their composure. That's the sun. Like the sun in the sky. Doesn't it command our attention? Isn't it the radiant source of so much? So an individual who's charismatic, very individualized, who radiates composure and something interesting and authority, that's their sun is strong. If they're nurturing and caring and loving and love and feel, and they feel deeply and they're an empath, they're empathic and feeling, then their moon is strong. If they're brilliant, communicative, eloquent, their Mercury is strong. If they're wise, judicious, truth teller, don't like lying, their Jupiter is strong. If they're artistic, aesthetic, fond of beauty, refinement, social values, interacting in a harmonious way, if they're an excellent diplomat, and do everything with refinement and elan, isn't that a lovely word? Then their Venus is strong. If they're scientific, mechanistic, they can see and understand how everything is working, their Saturn is strong. If they're materialistic, corrupt, criminal, addicted, violent, their Rahu is strong. And last of all, Ketu, the south node of the moon. Ketu is the people that don't care, aren't materialistic, are intuitive, are mystical, are interested in liberation, in freeing everyone, are not bound at all by material desires. Doesn't that make you think of the indigenous cultures? Of the cultures that were very simple in the way they lived and profound in the way they worked with nature? Don't they call that sometimes the shaman? Those who have a direct knowing of nature and who are not attached to anything, who don't have any possessions except the wisdom that lives inside of them. That's Ketu. Now, before we finish, let me ask you, which of these planets did you associate yourself with the most? Which planet is your guiding planet? Are you radiant, charismatic, and an individual always? Are you nurturing, caring, and reflective? Are you assertive, courageous, powerful? Are you starting to see which planet is which? The first was the sun, radiant, charismatic, individual. Moon, nurturing, caring, intuitive. Mars, assertive, courageous, powerful, competitive. Mercury, intelligent, discerning. Mercury, intelligent, communicative, eloquent, humorous. Comedian, strong Mercury or weak Mercury? Strong Mercury, right? Right on to the next joke, right on to the next pun. Right in front of you, they make another joke. That's Mercury, strong Mercury. Jupiter, wisdom, judgment, depth, fairness, truthfulness, honesty, but careful honesty, not to cause harm. Venus, elegant, beautiful. Go to a beauty shop, go to a parlor where people are made beautiful and watch the people making them beautiful, how careful they are, how their judgment about the values that make something beautiful are so elegant. Watch scientists at work. Watch a tool user with their toolbox and making things and bringing them out of nothing. Saturn. And we see around us corrupt individuals embezzling and stealing and taking more than their share. Greedy, taking that which belongs to others. Rahu. Ketu. Liberation. Freedom. Indigenous. These 9 grahas or planets are different and unique in each one of us from the time of our birth.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.